The cleaning cart squeaked softly against the polished marble floors of Morgan Capital's executive floor. It was late, most employees had gone home, leaving only the night owls and ambitious junior analysts hunched over their Bloomberg terminals. "Still here, Olivia?" Thomas Morgan's voice dripped with fake concern as he emerged from his corner office. "Those windows won't clean themselves. My older brother's designer suit probably cost more than I made in 3 months as the office cleaner." Not that he knew about my other income streams, the ones that had helped me build Phoenix Investment Partners into one of the most powerful private equity firms in the city. "Just finishing up, Thomas," I replied quietly, watching him drop his empty coffee cup deliberately onto the freshly mopped floor. "Oops," he smirked. "Better clean that up before Dad sees it. You know how he feels about maintaining Morgan's standards." I did know. James Morgan, CEO of Morgan Capital, and my father had made it very clear where I stood in the family hierarchy after I'd refused to follow his prescribed career path. Instead of joining the family firm as a junior analyst like my brothers, I'd wanted to start my own investment company. "Investment is a man's world," he declared at a family dinner 5 years ago. "You don't have what it takes. But if you want to work here so badly..." He gestured to the cleaning staff tidying the executive dining room. "We always need good cleaners." He'd meant it as a humiliation, a way to break my spirit. Instead, he'd given me the perfect cover to observe Morgan Capital from the inside while building my own empire in secret. My phone buzzed softly, a message from my CFO. "Morgan Capital's quarterly results are worse than expected. Their stock will tank when the market opens tomorrow." I smiled, pushing my cart toward the executive washrooms. I'd known about Morgan Capital's impending crisis for months, watching through my nightly cleaning rounds as they made increasingly desperate attempts to hide their mounting losses. "Hey, cleaning lady," my younger brother Michael called out as he left his office. "The men's room is a mess. Some junior analyst got sick from the pressure. Clean it up, will you?" I thought about the report sitting in my other office, the real one 40 stories above the city in the Phoenix Tower. Morgan Capital was hemorrhaging clients, their outdated investment strategies and bloated management structure finally catching up with them. "Of course, Michael," I replied. "Right away." He didn't even look at me as he walked past, too busy texting on his phone. Probably arranging another expensive dinner he'd charged to the company account. Just another irregularity I'd documented over the years. My name is Olivia Morgan, though in the financial world, I'm known as OM Phoenix, the elusive founder of Phoenix Investment Partners. While my family thought I was scrubbing toilets and mopping floors, I'd built a firm that now managed over $50 billion in assets. And tomorrow, when Morgan Capital's stock crashed, I'd be their only hope for survival. Another message lit up my phone, this time from my head of acquisitions. "Everything's in place. We own 40% of their corporate bonds. When they default next week, we'll control their debt." I pushed my cart into the executive washroom, thinking about how many confidential documents I'd found carelessly discarded in these trash bins. The Morgan men never thought the cleaning staff might be paying attention to their crumpled papers and whispered phone conversations. "Olivia." My father's voice boomed from his office. "Come here." I straightened my cleaner's uniform and walked into the massive corner office where James Morgan held court. He sat behind his mahogany desk, reading glasses perched on his nose as he reviewed what I knew were increasingly troubling financial reports. "The windows need cleaning," he said without looking up. "And make sure you dust properly this time. A Morgan office must reflect Morgan excellence." I thought about the documents in my real office, proof of his creative accounting, evidence of misappropriated funds, records of every ethical shortcut he'd taken to maintain the illusion of Morgan excellence. "Yes, Mr. Morgan," I replied, reaching for my window cleaning supplies. "Mr. Morgan?" He looked up, annoyance crossing his features. "I'm still your father, Olivia, even if you choose to waste your life like this." I kept my face carefully blank as I sprayed the windows. "Of course, father. My mistake." He returned to his reports, muttering under his breath about ungrateful daughters and family disappointments. If only he knew that his cleaning lady daughter had just closed a $2 billion deal while he was struggling to keep his firm afloat. My phone vibrated again, my assistant this time. "Emergency board meeting scheduled for tomorrow at 9 a.m. Morgan Capital's biggest clients are pulling out." I watched my father's reflection in the window as he ran his hands through his silver hair, the stress of impending disaster finally showing on his face. Tomorrow he would learn that his cleaning lady daughter was about to become his only chance at salvation. Still here. Thomas reappeared in the doorway. Dad, you really should set a cleaning schedule. It's unprofessional having the help hanging around during business hours. I thought about Thomas's personnel file, the hidden gambling debts, the embezzled client funds, all meticulously documented by the cleaning lady he'd never bothered to really see. Your brother's right, my father sighed. Finish up and go home, Olivia. And make sure you're here early tomorrow. The board is coming in for an emergency meeting. Of course, father, I said, gathering my cleaning supplies. I wouldn't miss it. Back in my cleaning closet, which had better Wi-Fi than most of Morgan Capital's offices, I changed out of my cleaner's uniform into a tailored Chanel suit. In exactly 12 hours I would return to this building not as the cleaning lady, but as the CEO of the only firm capable of saving Morgan Capital from bankruptcy. My phone lit up with another message from my CFO. Final numbers are in. Morgan Capital will need a $2 billion cash injection by end of week to avoid default. I smiled, thinking about the emergency board meeting tomorrow. They'd be expecting OM Phoenix to arrive with a team of analysts and lawyers. Instead, they'd get their cleaning lady in a designer suit, holding the power to save or destroy their precious family legacy. Leaving the building through the service entrance one last time, I passed the framed photos in the lobby, 3 generations of Morgan men, each more arrogant than the last. My father, Thomas, and Michael featured prominently, their matching smirks a testament to inherited privilege. My photo wasn't there, of course. The cleaning staff didn't merit wall space in the Morgan Capital lobby. Good night, Miss Olivia, the security guard called out as I left. Unlike the Morgan men, Jorge actually noticed the cleaning staff. Big meeting tomorrow, I hear. Lots of important people coming in. Yes, I replied, thinking about just how important tomorrow's meeting would be. Very important people. In my real office at Phoenix Tower, I reviewed the takeover documents one final time. Everything was in place. The debt acquisition, the stock positions, the proof of Morgan Capital's financial misconduct. Tomorrow I would offer them a choice. Accept my terms and survive under Phoenix management or face bankruptcy and public scandal. My phone buzzed with a final message for the night, Thomas. Bathroom on 12th floor needs cleaning. Some junior analyst made a mess. Handle it first thing tomorrow. I set my phone down, looking out at the city lights. Tomorrow Thomas would learn that his cleaning lady sister now controlled his future. Tomorrow Michael would discover that the woman he'd ordered to clean up vomit was about to become his boss. And my father? He would finally understand that his greatest disappointment had become his only hope for salvation. I picked up a framed photo from my desk, the only family photo I kept. It showed a younger version of myself graduating from business school, before my father had decided that female ambition needed to be crushed rather than nurtured. Investment is a man's world, he'd said. Tomorrow he'd learn just how wrong he'd been. The next morning I arrived at Morgan Capital exactly on schedule, not in my cleaner's uniform, but in a black Armani suit that cost more than my father's monthly salary. My cleaning cart had been replaced by a Hermes briefcase containing the documents that would reshape my family's legacy. Through the lobby security cameras I watched the panic unfold. The stock had opened down 60%, just as I'd predicted. Board members were rushing in, their faces tight with worry. Thomas and Michael huddled near the reception desk, frantically checking their phones as their personal wealth evaporated. Miss Phoenix. My assistant's voice came through my earpiece. Everyone's assembled in the main boardroom. They're waiting for OM Phoenix to arrive. I smiled, straightening my jacket. Time for the cleaning lady to make an appearance. The boardroom fell silent as I walked in. For a moment no one recognized me. They'd never seen the cleaning staff in anything but uniforms. Then my father's face went pale, Thomas's jaw dropped, and Michael actually fell back into his chair. Olivia. My father's voice cracked. What are you doing here? We're waiting for OM Phoenix from Phoenix Investment Partners. I know, I replied calmly, taking my place at the head of the table. OM Phoenix is here. Thomas shot to his feet. This is ridiculous. Security. I pulled out my phone and pressed a button. The screens around the room came to life, displaying Phoenix Investments holdings in Morgan Capital, including controlling interest in their corporate debt. As of market open this morning, I said, my voice carrying across the stunned room, Phoenix Investment Partners controls enough of Morgan Capital's debt to force bankruptcy proceedings. Unless, of course, you're interested in discussing alternatives. Impossible, Michael whispered. You're a cleaner. No, I corrected him. I'm the CEO of a $50 billion investment firm. The cleaner was just a cover, one you were all too arrogant to see through. I began distributing folders to each board member. Inside you'll find detailed documentation of Morgan Capital's financial irregularities. Thomas's gambling debts covered with client funds. Michael's creative accounting. Father's ethical shortcuts. My father's face had turned an interesting shade of gray. You've been spying on us? Spying. I laughed. I was doing my job, cleaning up your messes. It's amazing what people throw away, what they say when they think the cleaning staff isn't listening. The board members were flipping through the folders, their expressions morphing from shock to outrage as they saw the extent of the Morgan family's misconduct. You can't prove any of this, Thomas blustered, but his hands were shaking. I clicked to the next slide. Actually, I can prove everything. 5 years of documentation, all gathered while you were too busy making messes for me to clean up. Michael stood up, his face red. This is a trick. You're nothing but a dash. A what? I cut him off. A cleaning lady? The sister you ordered to scrub toilets? The daughter who wasn't good enough for the man's world of investment banking. I pressed another button, and the screens showed Morgan Capital's real financial position, far worse than even the board knew. You need $2 billion by the end of the week to avoid default, I continued. Phoenix Investment Partners is prepared to provide that funding. With certain conditions, of course. My father finally found his voice. Conditions. Complete management overhaul. New board of directors. And the Morgan family. I paused, savoring the moment, will no longer have any operational control of the firm. You can't do this, Thomas protested. We're family. Family. I raised an eyebrow. Like when you made me clean up your coffee spills. Like when Michael ordered me to scrub vomit off the bathroom floors. That kind of family. I opened another folder, revealing Phoenix's restructuring plan. You have exactly 1 hour to decide. Accept Phoenix's takeover, or I'll call your loans and force bankruptcy proceedings. You would destroy your own family's legacy? My father asked, his voice barely a whisper. No, father. I'm saving it. Just not for you. The next hour was the longest of their lives, and the most satisfying of mine. I watched as they huddled in corners, made frantic phone calls, searched desperately for another option. But there was none. I had made sure of that. Finally, my father approached my seat, looking older than I'd ever seen him. You planned this, he said quietly. All these years while we thought you were just the cleaning lady? I finished for him. Yes. Every coffee spill, every late-night cleaning shift, every humiliation was one step closer to this moment. The board voted unanimously to accept Phoenix's offer. What choice did they have? As they filed out, leaving my family alone in the room, Thomas made one last attempt. Olivia, please, he began. We can work something out. Keep it in the family. Oh, we will, I smiled. You're all being reassigned. Thomas, you'll be managing our Kansas City back office. Michael, you're heading to our data entry division in Omaha. Father. Yes? He asked, barely able to meet my eyes. You can keep your office. As head janitor. Their faces went from pale to red to purple. You can't be serious, Michael sputtered. Actually, I am. After all, someone needs to clean up the messes around here. And as you've all reminded me so often, it's important work. That evening, I sat in my father's former office, my office now, watching the sun set over the city. My phone hadn't stopped buzzing with messages from relatives who'd suddenly remembered my existence. Olivia, darling, we should talk. Cousin, remember when we used to play together? Dear, surely we can work something out. I ignored them all, focusing instead on the changes already being implemented throughout Morgan Capital. New management software being installed, ethical compliance procedures being established, decades of patriarchal culture being dismantled. A knock at the door interrupted my thoughts. It was my father, looking strange in his new janitor's uniform. The bathrooms on 12 need cleaning, I said without looking up. And Thomas spilled coffee in the break room again. Handle it first thing tomorrow. He stood there for a moment, his pride warring with his new reality. Finally he spoke. Investment is a man's world. That's what I always said. I looked up then, meeting his eyes. Oh, father. Investment is about intelligence, strategy, and patience. All traits you might have noticed in your daughter if you hadn't been so busy looking down on her. After he left, I walked through my building by building now. Every corner held memories. The bathrooms I'd cleaned, the floors I'd mopped, the windows I'd washed while planning this very moment. My phone buzzed with a message from my assistant. New signs installed in the lobby. Morgan Capital is officially Phoenix Morgan Partners. I made one final stop before heading home, the small supply closet that had been my office for 5 years. On the door I hung a new plaque, OM Phoenix so started here. In my new corner office I opened my father's old leather portfolio, now mine. Inside I placed a photograph, the cleaning lady who had become CEO, standing in front of the company she'd purchased with the money she'd earned while they mocked her. My phone buzzed one last time, a message from Thomas. This is cruel, Olivia. Making us work these menial jobs. I typed back a single response. No, brother. I'm teaching you what I learned while cleaning up your messes. Every job has value, every person deserves respect, and karma comes with a mop and bucket. Then I blocked their numbers and turned to my computer, where reports from all divisions of Phoenix Morgan Partners awaited my review. The old Morgan Capital was dead. Phoenix would rise from its ashes, stronger and more ethical than ever. And the cleaning lady they'd mocked? She now owned every floor they'd made her scrub, every bathroom they'd made her clean, every office they'd paraded through without a second glance. Sometimes the best revenge isn't just taking control, it's making them clean up their own messes for a change.